Howdy everybody, it's Sam. I hope you're doing really well. If you're new around here, I hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. And if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you so much for the continuous support. As always, well, there is a trial happening this weekend. Team squads should be announced tomorrow for North Queensland. Therefore, a few more superstars are going to come into the foray this weekend. And I wanted to try and get ahead of Mr. Todd Payton and reveal my best game day squad for 2022. Now, this is not my predicted lineup. This is my personal opinion as far as game day squads go for the North Queensland Cowboys for 2022. And I just want to quickly jump into the live chat. G'day, Jason Reader. I'm very well, mate. I hope you're doing really well too, man. You're always tuning in. Thank you very much for the support. Rugby League Roundup. Hey, man. Thank you, man. You're not too bad yourself, old bloke. So this video is my personal opinion. The Cowboys' best 22-man squad, game day squad for 2022. And we're going to start off at the fullback position, and that's Hamiso Tabuai Fido. The man made his State of Origin debut last year, scored a try when he was on debut, and there is no real better option. Valentine, if he improves or if he has a better season this year, he could come into the fullback position. But for me, the hammer has got it locked down and key, mate. Now let's go into the next position, and that is the first winger position, Kyle Feldt. Kyle Feldt, North Queensland Cowboys club legend already. Whilst we finished in 15th position last year, Kyle Feldt had a pretty good season last year. He had handling errors, he had some defensive lapses, but so did the entire club. Kyle Feldt made his State of Origin debut himself in 2021 last year, and he's just a club legend. So for me, he nabs one of those winger positions. And the other, on the other side of the paddock, the other winger is Murray Tuolangi. Murray Tuolangi came onto the scene in 2019, 2018. I think it was 2019. But in any event, I've actually been a fair fan of his for the past couple of years. And I think we're about ready to see his breakout year. I think he's going to have a very good season. Now, who is going to be his partner? And this is, if excuse the pun, this is the $1 million question. And for me, it's got to be Valentine Holmes that has the centre position that partners Murray Tuolangi on one side of the paddock. Now, I looked at the last two games North Queensland played last year against Dragons and Manly Sea Eagles, and Todd Payton actually linked Kyle Feldt and Valentine Holmes together on one side of the paddock together. And whilst that could be a lethal combination, especially when you include Hammer and even Chad Townsend maybe coming in on the side, I just think it'd be a nicer balance for me personally to put Valentine next to Murray Tuolangi. Valentine has played on that side of the paddock before. I know he does prefer the right-hand side, but out there on the left, I think he can go well. I think he should go well because it's his most important season coming up in 2022 without a shadow of a doubt. Now, for me, who partners Kyle Feldt? Well, this man is a right winger that's coming in from the New Zealand Warriors, Peter Hiku. And you know what? I'm actually really excited about what Peter Hiku could bring. Defensively, he can have a bit of a brain explosion. I think example or evidence of that comes from the Warriors-Dragons contest that happened last year. Maybe it was the year before, but in any event, I like Peter Hiku. I think his attack is underrated. He's been in the game for about 8 years now, so he's half a veteran, isn't he? I'd have Peter Hiku partnering Murray Tuolangi on the other side of the paddock. So therefore, just to refresh everyone, for me, this is North Queensland's best backline. So Hammer in a fullback, Kyle Feldt and Peter Hiku partnering one another on one side of the paddock, and Valentine Holmes and Murray Tuolangi partnering each other on the other side of the paddock as well. So, and if you have any opinions on that, please, I bet you bloody do, please feel free to leave it down in the comments or in the live chat. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to deep dive into live chat before I go on any further. Hey, dude, nothing better than what, dude, thank you so much, mate. I think maybe the Ankle Breaker podcast might have me beat just for the time being, but CJ Moxley, hey, dude, thank you for tuning in, mate. Jacqueline Dixon, hey, passionate, mad North Queensland Cowboys supporter from up there near Innisfail, that's right. And Rugby League Roundup agrees with Hiku's great attack. Yeah, for sure, man. Boat. I used to love Hiku at Manly, and that's I remember Peter Hiku very well. I think I saw him play live actually in 2015 at Brookvale as well. And it just seems like I've got a lot of people agreeing with me, and pretty much it picks itself, Pruins, so it says, and 100%, dude, no worries. A decent backline, CJ Moxley says, and I think it is. I think it could be a very good backline if everyone fires on all cylinders, because we don't want to be in that bottom four again. And I like that back five in Rugby League Roundup's opinion. So thank you very much for the kind comments, guys, and thank you very much. Keep them coming, please. So now let's move into the halves position, and starting at 5/8 position, I think Scott Drinkwater will be, or should be, our 5/8 for 2022. And much in the same mold of Valentine Holmes, I think Scott Drinkwater, it's his most important season in 2022. I even believe his contract would be up by the end of this season. So I may be wrong about that. Please correct me in the chats. In the chat. So Scott Drinkwater, I think he should be our 5/8. Look, his kicking game at times was out of this world good. At times it was out of this world, what the hell are you doing? And I think he knows he's got a fairly important season ahead of him now. It's his 19, 20, 21. It's going to be his fourth year up there at North Queensland. And let's time to show us what you're really made of, mate. So let's rock and roll. And the new $1 million man for 2022 up there at North Queensland, Chad Townsend. Chad Townsend, man, I've always been a fan of his. I really hope he goes well for us, mate. It just feels like the Jonathan Thurston, who's coaching Scott Drinkwater, Tom Dearden, and Chad Townsend, has had a very positive effect on Chad Townsend. And he seems really happy from where he is, from everything that we've seen. I've always been a fan of Chad Townsend. Yes, he's had a lean 18 months, but hey, it's a brand new, fresh start for him. And I think he could be an underrated pickup for us come the end of the year for sure, man. So just to refresh again, I think these pairing are our best halves pairing for 2022, Scott Drinkwater and Chad Townsend. Now, let's move into where I think Cowboys' biggest strength is for 2022, and that's our entire forward pack. I think whilst we are young and inexperienced, we've got a lot of good depth coming through, mate. So, mate, who the hell am I talking to? All of you guys. So let's move into the first one. And for me, I think this is a universal agreeal. I think Jason Taumalolo 100% moves, or should move, into the front row, whether it be jersey 8 or jersey 10 on his back. I think Jason Taumalolo has to move in to the front row. It simplifies his game plan. Yeah, he could still do a very admirable job in at lock, but he had a pretty ordinary season, albeit his body did let him down last year. Jason Taumalolo only scored the one try last year as well, man. But I do think the game has sped up with the 6 again rules and the other rules that Peter V'landys and Andrew Abdo has been tinkering with for the past year or so. So Jason Taumalolo for me moves into the forward pack, and his front row partner. This is where controversy might rear its head towards me, but for me personally, I'm going to go for Cohen Hess to partner him in the starting side, or as a starting prop. He was our best player. He was a Paul Bowman medalist last season. Not in my opinion. It was voted on. And he was voted to be the Cowboys' best player. He's a veteran now. He's been around since 2016. 2015, I should say. He made his debut against the Warriors, I believe, late in 2015. And I think, look, it is a demotion to somebody that we're going to get into in a minute, because his contract is up the season. But I think Jason Taumalolo and Cohen Hess, whilst it's weird, I think it can definitely work, man. And that's how I would do it. I think Cohen Hess and Jason Taumalolo, they've been there since 2015. Jason Taumalolo even more so. And that's how I'd go with the starting front row in 2022. And mate, I really hope he doesn't remain homesick for too much longer. And that's the rumor. That's the go around town. Reece Robson, he is easily the best dummy half option for us in 2022 up there at North Queensland. Reece Robson, before the reports came out, or the rumours, came out, that he was homesick. He wanted to move back to New South Wales because he came from the Wollongong area, I believe. Well, he made his debut with St. George anyway, but before that, I would have said put him as a captain for the next however many years. I think he has captain material. I think he's got leadership skills ready lying in wait. But I think if you're homesick, mate, I don't think we should put the C next to his name. He might relish in it maybe throughout the State of Origin period where things might get a little tricky. Or if, touch wood, Jason Taumalolo gets an injury or thereabouts sort of thing. So just to refresh everyone, that's my forward front line for 2022. Taumalolo, Hess, and Robson, those should be the starting front row or forward front line, as I've got written down there. Now, this is where things get tricky for me. But before I do, I just want to quickly deep dive into the live chat because I do not want to make you feel like I'm bloody half ignoring you sort of thing. So, excuse me, Parenzo Fitz, yo, dude. Most underrated YouTube channel. That's seriously kind of you. Just Rugby League. Oh, I've gone international. Just Rugby League is a YouTuber that I've just become familiar with, and I recommend that you all go check out Just Rugby League. He's broadcasting from over there in England, mate. So, everyone go and check out Just Rugby League, bro. Definitely at least for a different taste. Doing mass listening to sound. Oh, mate, it might bloody do your head in, mate. I'm struggling here. Jacqueline Dixon probably agreed with my halves pairing potentially, or maybe even your front row pairing. And Jacqueline Dixon, yep, 100%. Thank you very much, man. I'm really grateful and I'm really lucky, and that's cool that you agree with me so far as Jason Taumalolo and Cohen Hess as our starting front rowers. And Robson is from northern New South Wales. Okay, true. Because I know he debuted or he was a Dragon before he came up to North Queensland, but he's from northern New South Wales. All right, then, no worries. I've been corrected, no worries. And again, if you disagree, please leave it in the chat. Let me know. But this is not a prediction video. This is just my personal best game day squad option for 2022. And I'm trying to fly through this because I know that the trial is T minus 20 minutes and counting sort of thing. So let's move into the back row. And if I just focus here, and without a doubt, Mr. Hylam Lukey for 2022, he could be in for an absolute blockbuster season. Hylam Lukey has just recently signed a contract that's going to keep him at North Queensland until the end of 2025. And I spoke before about Reece Robson being a potential captain for the club. Hylam Lukey, man, I think if we invest a lot more than 3 years when the time is right and when it calls for it, I think he could be a future captain of North Queensland. He just hit the scene so well when he debuted against Newcastle Knights last year, and I think he is deserved of a starting second row slot, whether that be jersey 11 or I think it was jersey 12 that he was wearing last year. I think Hylam Lukey, that's his spot. And for me, the next back row pairing, his back row partner, really showed me that, yes, he should be the starting second rower for 2022, and that's Benjamin Condon. Benjamin Condon in the trial this past weekend, especially in the second half, showed great leadership. Now, whether Dejan Arce was the captain or not in that trial just this past weekend, it was Benjamin Condon for me that caught my eye, and he showed that he was a leader. He was standing up. He was getting stuck into the runs, hitting up the ball. His defense was stinging, and there have been some people that have said he's a bit of a walker. He's a bit of a slow jogger, Benjamin Condon. Well, he only debuted last season, so let's give the poor bugger a bloody half a go sort of thing. But I would definitely have my second row pairing, a young and very tall timber second row pairing in Benjamin Condon and Hylam Lukey for sure. I think that's a damaging second row pairing if, again, they're all firing on all cylinders. And the lock, I think this should be no surprise. The lock forward position goes to Ruben Cotter. Ruben Cotter, mate, fair dinkum. I'm touching every piece of wood I can friggin' find for you in 2022. I really hope he has it unaffected 2022 or to a minimal degree as well. He is such a gun. He is such a goer. And I think we're going to see the best of him in 2022. His defense, his attack. So if Reece Robson's getting tackled, Ruben Cotter could come in and scoot out a dummy half himself, mate. He could play at lock or he could play at dummy half, but I understand that he's been playing in the lock position because, as I alluded to when I spoke about Jason Taumalolo just a minute ago, I think the lock position has evolved for it to be not so much a battering ram position like it was maybe 10, 15 years ago, but it's quicker. The game's gotten quicker, and therefore I think a deceptively quick, hard-hitting lock is what the game needs and what every team needs. And I think Ruben Cotter is that perfect mold. And so just to reiterate, guys, this is my back row pairing. This is my back row. Highland Lukey, Benjamin Condon, and Ruben Cotter. They are my starting back row for the North Queensland Cowboys in 2022. And just before I go into the interchange bench, I'm going to just quickly deep dive into the trial. This weekend's trial match will be interesting for sure. For sure, there's going to be a lot more first graders on show. And Stephen Warren, hello, thank you very much for tuning in, dude. Hope I can get you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. Rugby League Roundup, I rate Ben Condon. Rugby League Roundup, Cotter has won that lock spot easily. And that is spot on 100% is, Ruben Cotter for sure. And I hope Todd Payton, Rugby League Roundup says, I hope Todd Payton sees this. And, I hope he does too. But, I mean, I think he's already got his squad all ready to rock and roll. And I think there are going to be differences between his starting 17 and my 17. But, hey, each to their own. Just get the bloody job done this year and get us back into a top 8, for God's sake. So let's move on to the interchange bench. So I'll just quickly duck back up there. So the interchange bench, Mr. Jake Granville, club legend. He was top 3 Cowboys players for 2021. He played at fullback at one stage or a couple of stages last season. For me, he's a club legend. He should always be in our starting 17 for sure. And he's my number 14 for 2022. My next option is Jordan McLean. I think Jordan McLean, if I was to walk up to him and say to him, look, you're not going to be wearing the number 10 jersey, you're not going to be starting for us this season. It's more of let's look more towards the future, because Jordan McLean, I think he is still in his 20s, late 20s, albeit, but I think Jordan McLean would show great leadership, considering he has been a vice captain for us in the past. I think he'd be showing great leadership if he took a step back and said, all right, let's get some other players in there. And I know Cohen Hess and Jason Taumalolo have been, they're not young people that themselves, but I think if Jordan McLean took a step back, I think it'd be showing great leadership for the next person that I want to display to you, and that is Mr. Well, not 19th man, God damn it. And Mr. Jeremiah Nanai. I think Jeremiah Nanai this year, look, he's only played a couple of games, but I think Jeremiah Nanai is going to be in the 17. I think we need to show him how excited we are about him. I think we need to show some loyalship about Jeremiah Nanai. As I just said, I think Jordan McLean, I think if Jeremiah Nanai stands back and sees what Jordan McLean is doing, I think that entices him, or I think it gets him a little bit more excited, Jeremiah Nanai, about staying with North Queensland potentially more. And I'm just going to say it right now. It looks like there's a thumbnail that's gone missing, unfortunately. I was going to bring up Griffin Neame. I was going to have Griffin Neame in my starting 17 anyway before last weekend's trial. But fair dinkum, if that's what Griffin Neame is going to be bringing for us for season 2022, I was dead set a bees away from putting him in the starting prop position as well, man. That's probably the most mongrel I've seen from a Cowboys starting prop player in probably 2 or 3 years, if I'm being honest. And I think that's being fair as well, bro, because they've been pretty lean years. But Griffin Neame, man, the way he got fired out of a cannon last weekend, boy, how'd he bring that on. So just one more time, my interchange bench is Jake Granville, Jordan McLean, Griffin Neame, and Jeremiah Nanai. And so let's move into the 18th man. I think Ben Hampton, this poor bugger, mate, he is a really talented footballer, but his body's let him down, and there's just been that one other player that's been preferred to being in that 17-man lineup as well. So I'd have Ben Hampton always on standby. I really have always enjoyed Ben Hampton, and the reason why I controversially so don't have Tom Dearden as 18th man is if I were the coach, I'd say, look, Tom Dearden, thank you so much for coming up for us. I know we've got you up here early, and we did move a couple of chess pieces to get you up here a little bit earlier. But I'd say, look, we're going to go with Drinkwater, we're going to go with Townsend, and I'm not going to muck around with you. We're going to get you to play Queensland Cup. So I'd choose Ben Hampton to come in because he's used to it more. Have Tom Dearden focus on his Queensland Cup game, focus on his Queensland Cup form, and have Ben Hampton, who I think he's about 27 years of age, maybe a little bit younger than that, but I'd have Ben Hampton personally in at 18th man every single weekend instead of choosing young Tom Dearden to be 18th man every single weekend. Just have him focus on his Queensland Cup game form. And you probably saw it just a second ago, Mr. 19th man, Mr. Tom Gilbert. Tom Gilbert, surprisingly over the off-season, it's come out that he was actually a second rower. He's a massive human being. And I'd like to see some more speed if that's the case. If he's going to be a second rower for us potentially in 2022, I'd like to see him execute that sort of speed that might be lying in wait that we all haven't seen yet. But his defense is good. He's young. He's still got a lot to learn. He has plenty of go as well. But for me, I think Griffin Neem's got just a bit more mongrel about him, or just a bit more professional. Just professionally more focused, I guess. I'll explain that at a different stage, but I think Tom Gilbert would be good to have as a backup. He can fill in the second row, or he can fill in the front row as well. And because COVID's about, there needs to be like this 21, 22-man squad every single game, because you just don't know who's going to test positive. I mean, breaking news about 45 minutes ago, Justin Holbrook got tested for positive. I believe Chance Nickel-Klokstad got tested for positive to COVID-19 as well. So there's just going to be always 22 men ready to rock and roll at any given notice in 2022 for whatever club you follow. And the 20th man is, or 21st man is Mitchell Dunn. Mitchell Dunn, I think it could be hard done by. But I just think showing Jeremiah Nanai some excitement would be better for us, and I think Mitchell Dunn would be good for showing for stepping back and allowing that to take place as well. And Connolly Lemuelu there, you can see Connolly Lemuelu, man, in the trials over the past weekend, Connolly Lemuelu really impressed. I'd say Todd Payton would put him in his top 3 man of the match. I think he'd be flirting with my top 3 man of the match as well, man. Connolly Lemuelu made a lot of defense. He put on some great attacking plays. And yeah, he really got his shoulders stuck in. And Connolly Lemuelu, he's my 20th man. He'd be good for a centre option if someone gets injured or tests positive to COVID-19 throughout the season, sort of thing. And just always have him on standby. So just one more time, those are my game day backup options. Ben Hampton is my 18th man. Tom Gilbert is 19. Connolly Lemuelu as 20, and Mitchell Dunn as my 21st man. And just before I go, I'm just going to deep dive back into the comments section again. Mr. Rugby League Roundup. So Jake Granville, easily a great Cowboys player since 2015. And Jordan McLean is 30 now, turning 31. And that's what I mean. I think if he shows that he's okay and ready and willing to accept that he's going to start from the bench, I think that shows some great leadership. Even though it's Cohen Hess and Jason Taumalolo nabbing that starting front row pairing before him, I think that's rewarding Cohen Hess for a great season that he put in 2021. And Jason Taumalolo was our captain. And I think that would be a great message, a great bit of display for the young players to see as well. So it has a sort of like a positive influence, a bit of an energy as well. Jacqueline, what do you think of the poster I got? It looks good. I think I've seen about 15 of them, but I think it looks good, and spot on fair for the side, spot on for the side. Great picks, good stream. Thank you very much, guys. And look, I am going to get out of here. And again, if you agree, if you disagree, please let me know. It's always good to hear everybody else's opinion. And I'm going to get out of here just because the trial game is so close now between the Newcastle Knights and the Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs up there at McDonald Jones Stadium. That is my opinion for the best Cowboys game day squad for 2022. Not a prediction. That's just how I would do things if I was Todd Payton. And I've been told that I look a little bit like Todd Payton, but I mean, I'll take it. I'll freaking take it. Everybody, thank you so much for tuning in. If you're new around here, I hope I have convinced you to consider liking the content and subscribing to the channel. And if you are a regular around these here parts, thank you so much for the continuing support as always. And just before I go, Mr. Jason Reader, thank you very much for the compliment. Rugby League Roundup, thank you very much for the compliment as well. And Miss Jacqueline Dixon, thank you very much. And yes, I'm going to keep up the good work as well. I hope you all have a very nice night. Adios, everybody.